How and why was God taught about it in the first place? And so what if he's not real? I'd rather be right and live eternally than wrong and suffer for it. Okay, let's talk. My dude, I'm not trying to be insulting here, but you know how like people talk about like the deep state and how like Democrat elitists eat babies and stuff? You're hitting all of the Christian talking points. It's when you try and tell somebody that they're in a cult and they don't really get it, and then they regurgitate all the same things. That's what this is. How and why was God taught in the first place? That's easy. That's because people did not understand things about the world, so they needed some sort of explanation. So they created gods as a way to explain these things. People didn't understand why it got cold in the winter and all their crops were dying off. So obviously it must be that some god is very angry with them. So they need to do something like sacrifice something to try and get the sun back and their crops back. People didn't understand when there were things like solar eclipses, so they thought that the gods must be angry at them and trying to show them a sign. When people were having seizures, they didn't understand what that was, so they thought, must be demon possession. So instead of taking those people to a doctor, they took them to an exorcist. We still have these people around today, people who just don't understand how the world works, so they assume that it must be God. There are people who can't physically see the curvature of the planet, so they think that the earth must be flat. There are people who can't grasp the concept that we have a common ancestor with other great apes. So they think that that must not be true, that we must have evolved separately. We must have been breathed life into from clay and ribs and stuff. Or the fact that we don't have all the answers yet to how the universe was formed. So people say, well, you don't know, so therefore, God. This is called the God of the gaps argument. I don't know how something works, so therefore it has to be God. And if that's the case, then like Neil deGrasse Tyson said, God is a deep pocket of ignorance that gets smaller and smaller with each new discovery. Then there's the other half of what you said, which is basically the old argument of, I would rather live my life believing there was a God to find out that I was wrong in the end, rather than believe that there wasn't a God and find out that I was wrong in the end. This is what's commonly known as Pascal's wager. And here's what's wrong with that argument. Say that I wasn't really 100% convinced that there was a God, but I said that there was a God and I acted like I believed in a God and I prayed to a God, but I didn't fully believe. Wouldn't an all-knowing God be able to see right through that? And according to the Bible, belief alone will not get you into heaven. There is a lot of other qualifications that you need, and it is hard to get in there even if you are like the ultimate of Christians, because narrow is the gate and few will find it. And according to the Bible, the names of the people that are going to get into heaven has already been written. Thanks for your questions. Hopefully these answers have been sufficient.